Man, Alex Wheatle uh, really hit me hard, especially the year that we're having, the kind of themes that it's covering. Um, your performance alongside Jonathan, Jules, and just the work that you do throughout is really moving and really telling. Um, First thing I wanted to ask you, which I'm asking everybody anytime I'm interviewing someone, how's 2020 been for you? I know it's been crazy for the most part, but how have you been? How have you been coping with things?
It's been hectic. It's been really, really hectic. Obviously, aside from the obvious, situation that we're all in, COVID, it's been a really exciting year for me. I've been able to work with Steve McQueen and finish debuting on my first ever feature film role, which is incredible. Um, I'm also currently still in drama school as well, so to graduate from, well, not graduate, but finish my second year of drama school and go into my third year was a big achievement for me and a big step. Um, but it's been full of ups and downs, for sure, for sure. But a great way to start my career, honestly, a great year that I'll never forget.
And congratulations again on it. I know it's a strange position to be in, to have the kind of success that you're beginning to see, but then in the midst of all this kind of chaos, and to be able to sit with it and appreciate it, but then have to get back to work, and to have to cope with the space that you've been working in. How has it been adjusting to the pandemic, and then also your budding career starting to take off and really starting to take shape? How's this affecting how you're approaching your roles, how you're preparing for your roles, and how you're trying to get yourself in the right headspace?
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic for me it was obviously a huge and extremely shocking thing for the world. But what I really took from it is that I got a lot closer with my mum, which is just incredible, great for me. Um, I was back home. I don't live at home at the moment. I live with other housemates. But to go back, be at home with my mum every single day and really just build on our relationship has been great. It's allowed me to really take in the people around me and build intimate relationships, which I wouldn't have built otherwise. So it's a blessing in disguise to a certain extent. Um, in terms of my acting roles and things like that, it's odd because instead of being able to to again socialize with the cast afterwards, go for a drink and build that relationship and that connection, you can't really do that. So I've, again, it's difficult because I have to be able to navigate all the roles that I'm getting and being given and take the time to really get into them, really get into them. And with COVID being what it is, it's actually taken a lot of the distractions away. And I've been able to really focus on the craft and the career that I'm trying to build. So yeah, that's definitely what I've been doing.
I mean, it comes out on screen in really tremendous ways. Um, Also, just the content of this piece of Alex Wheatle. It's strange. I was telling my wife, whenever we hear about police brutality, we hear about race riots, we hear about the history of disenfranchised Black communities. It's almost always in the context of America. I live out here in North Carolina, so the summer with George Floyd and with police brutality, the last several years has always been through the scope of America. So, what's it like bringing this now to like a larger stage, bringing the idea of and the reality of police violence and police brutality, but set in London. And we're thinking about 1981 Brixton, a time and place I'm not aware of at all, and I wasn't aware of leading into this project. So what's it been like working with that content, working with the figure Alex himself, and of course working with Steve McQueen's take on all of this?
Mm-hmm. Well, firstly, for me, what I love about this whole anthology of films is that it's educating people. It's educating people. Me as a person, I've found it very, I was never like a bookworm. So when it came to educating myself that way, I kind of shied away from it. But what I love about the art of film and the art of TV is that people can now learn in different ways. They can learn in a more visual way and a more visual aspect. Um, and you know, police brutality happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. Not every policeman, but a lot of policemen, they have a power trip. You know what I mean? And it's about time they all get exposed for that. They all get exposed for that. Hopefully that the police that are in the institute, in their establishments, are watching these and seeing how it genuinely affects not just the people that they are hurting or, you know, killing, say bluntly, but the families, the friends, everyone around them. Not like the area that it's happened in. It's stained. The area is now stained. You know what I mean? So it's a lot bigger and it's a lot deeper than, oh, not just seeing one person again. It affects a whole huge scope. It's a domino effect. So hopefully people will see and understand and become more empathetic, for sure.
Yeah, and it reminds me of a lot. Speaking of like just educating people through the arts, it reminds me of Watchmen on HBO and the Tulsa massacre that people started to learn about just from the show.
I'm still yet
So
to watch.
yeah, man, it hits the same way, it hits the same way Small Axe does, and it's incredibly visceral. Um, and I was going to ask, what was it like to be in the space of an actor who is facing imprisonment, not just a wrongful imprisonment, but it's a psychological imprisonment that you face before you even get locked up, and you're facing so much torment on the inside, and then now you're trapped quite literally on the inside. So what was that like working within that space and within that mental space as well?
Yeah, it takes its toll. It really does. It's a lot. It's emotionally, physically, and mentally draining and wearing. To put it like that. But there's something there's something deeper that powers you and pushes you through it. That you know that this story is going to be touching so many different people. That you might be feeling on set, you might be feeling low, you might be feeling down, but you get through it because because I'm doing this, this could change someone's life. Um, so it does have its ups and downs. It really does. I wouldn't suggest anyone doing such a heavy story if you yourself aren't in a steady place. Really, really and truly. Yeah.
Yeah, and thinking about that too, what are some of the like inspirations you probably drew from folks that you probably thought about stories that you were familiar with, or um, maybe even on like a personal level you remember, or feelings yourself that you're able to channel into this role? What helped you out? What inspired you or moved you to be able to persevere as the character and as the actor?
Yeah, I mean, God for me. God. I'm a God-fearing man, Christian man, um, and I totally feel that this is my calling. It has been my calling. Um, to know that I'm doing this, it's greater than me and myself and I. That this is touching everyone and everywhere, um, and I just feel that there's definitely a spiritual. It's not I want to say that the performance I gave obviously is down to the hard work and the preparation and the environment and Steve but when God sent you to do something, God's work is the best work. So for me, it was him speaking through me and Alex speaking through me. It wasn't just me by myself at all, at all.
And I could imagine the kind of experience it must have been working alongside Alex as well. But did you feel? Um, I feel I'd be too nervous to like to act. If I've got the person who is alive and right here in flesh and blood, and I have to emulate them, but they've got such a huge and almost like daunting reputation. What was that like to rise to that challenge, to rise to that occasion?
Mm. Yeah, it was daunting. Don't get me wrong, it really was daunting. But with Alex, he's such an open, friendly, lovely person that that pressure kind of was taken away. I mean, his phone was always open for me to call if I needed to speak to him, if I needed any help. Steve, being the amazing director that he was, he was always there by my side. Any queries, any worries that I had, we would talk and we would discuss. Um, but the fact that Alex was just so open to discuss his life, and we actually have similarities as well. The fact that we have some similarities in itself just took the pressure off. It was like, okay, although I'm going quite far from me and myself and my being, we also have some, things that we are the same in. Like, he has the same color as me. We listen to the same music. Like, he grew up in similar areas that I grew up in. So it was really a gift from God, this whole role, honestly. It really just, everything just was set in line and put in line for me, yeah.
And again, it plays out really beautifully on screen. I think a lot of what you're talking about regarding fate and how things were supposed to play out this way, and you could see that. You could see a genuine richness that comes out on screen between yourself and the other players involved. Um, and the music reminded me of my childhood. I've got Afro-Caribbean parents. That barbershop scene where you're there and everyone's chopping it up and giving you grief. It reminded me of, when I go to my barbershop. Um, the music especially, were you introduced to some new music, maybe reintroduced to music you already listened to? This is a whole world of reggae and Rasta lifestyle that many folks are probably just learning from, like, for the first time. But for you, what was that like in dealing with the culture and the music and really getting your hands, dirty?
Yeah. Um, Janet K, Silly Games is actually my favorite song right now. Like, that song there, it just sets such a euphoric feeling. Like, it's incredible. My music knowledge in terms of reggae has definitely been expanded, for sure. But I was up to the challenge. I was up to that. I'm always looking for ways to better and improve myself as an all-round human being. I love music, so that in itself was fun for me. Really, really fun. But Janet K, Silly Games, big up Kunta Kinte as well in Lovers Rock. That just evoked. Like, I was in my room dancing, singing, like getting down and dirty with the people on the screen. Like, it's such a contagious feeling. It's euphoria. It's euphoria. That's what it is. It's euphoria.
Yeah, it really is. And it's totally, it doesn't even have to be communicated. It's like through just vibrations and rhythms and the vibes that people put out. And y'all do an amazing job. Again, the performance is stellar, and that organic chemistry plays out um, in a really necessary way. Because again, 1981 Brixton. If you asked me before small acts, I don't know. But now I'm doing the legwork, doing the homework after being exposed to some really necessary stories. Um, before I let you go, Shay, what could we look forward to? What are you working on? Anything that you can share with us that we can anticipate?
Yeah, so I'm currently working on a romantic comedy, actually, which is a romantic feature film, which I'm looking forward for everyone to see. A lot more lighthearted, so that's good. And also about people of color having normal lives. It's not a story about our trauma or our struggle. It's best set over Christmas time as well. It's a real family affair, so I'm really looking forward for the people to see it. Really am.
I think folks will be looking forward to that too, and I bet you're looking forward to just a break from the exhaustion, that mental fatigue that comes from the struggle. But we got lives, we got lives outside of the history that we come from, and we continue to grow with that. Uh, but Shay, it was an absolute pleasure. Your work is astounding, and I'm really looking forward to the stuff you got coming out, and hopefully talking to you about it in the future.
Thank you so much, Jamal. Thank you for having me.
You take it easy, boss. Thanks again, man.
Bye bye.